There's the right way to do things, the wrong way, and then there's the American way. This video is a list of 49 times our way is just wrong. We're not talking about history or politics, but the small, baffling things we mess up every single day, from simple math to ordering a coffee. Let's begin the self-roast. 1. There's a sacred ritual in the United States involving the collection of thermal paper artifacts, otherwise known as receipts. This isn't about bookkeeping, it's a bizarre hoarding instinct. A 99-cent soda purchase generates a receipt that is carefully folded and entombed within a leather wallet, presumably for the archives. And for what exactly? To prove to a future historian that you once bought a Kit Kat? The result is a wallet so grotesquely swollen with paper ghosts that it can't be sat on. Yet the one time a $200 electronic device fails, its proof of purchase has mysteriously ascended to a higher plane of existence, leaving you with only a crumpled record of a 2017 slushy purchase. 2. The phrase, "we should totally carpool," is one of America's most popular works of fiction. It's a social nicety, a verbal acknowledgement of a problem that no one has any intention of solving. Instead, the morning commute becomes a parade of single-occupant land yachts, massive SUVs and trucks, each piloted by a solitary soul complaining about traffic. They are the traffic. It's a dedication to personal space so intense that they'd rather burn $100 a week in gas to sit in their rolling fortress of solitude than share a ride. Meanwhile, the very concept of a crowded bus is viewed as a form of dystopian horror, something to be avoided at all costs. 3. In America, a minor setback isn't a nuisance, it's a career opportunity. Spilling hot coffee on yourself isn't a moment of clumsiness, it's a potential windfall. Tripping on a perfectly visible crack in the sidewalk isn't an accident, it's a down payment on a boat. There's a lightning-fast transition from oops to I'll see you in court, turning everyday life into a minefield of potential litigation. Personal responsibility has become a forgotten ancient art form. The first thought isn't, how could I have been more careful? But rather, who has the deepest pockets here? And how can I get a piece of them for the psychic damage caused by this lukewarm soup? 4. For a certain type of American driver, the GPS estimated time of arrival is not a friendly forecast. It's a personal insult. The moment that calm digital voice announces ETA 32 minutes, a primal switch is flipped. They see this as a challenge laid down by the satellite gods. Suddenly, traffic laws are just gentle suggestions from a lesser authority. They will weave, tailgate, and accelerate with the fury of a Formula One driver, all to beat the machine. The grand prize for this death-defying performance? Arriving at their destination a staggering 90 seconds earlier, giving them just enough time to sit in their driveway and angrily reply to a work email before going inside. 5. A profound, almost spiritual resistance to public transportation exists in the American psyche. Given the choice between a 20-minute, stress-free train ride and a 90-minute bumper-to-bumper nightmare in their own car, many will choose the nightmare every time. They will gladly pay $40 to park their car a mile away from their destination rather than endure the unfathomable horror of possibly making brief eye contact with a stranger on a bus. It's the ultimate tribute to the personal freedom bubble, a belief that true liberty is being trapped alone in a metal box, burning fossil fuels, while silently raging at all the other people doing the exact same thing. 6. Behold, a unique and baffling creature, the American male in winter. As temperatures drop below freezing and sane people bundle up in layers, this specimen can be observed in his natural habitat, the grocery store parking lot, wearing nothing but basketball shorts and flip-flops. His skin glows with the pale, translucent quality of a fish forgotten in the freezer, yet he'll insist, "Nah, I'm good." This isn't resilience. It's an act of psychological warfare against reality itself. He's not braving the cold. He's just publicly auditioning for a case of frostbite to prove a point no one was interested in, let alone debating. 7. Some Americans seem to operate under the charming delusion that the English language is a universal operating system that just needs to be installed with sufficient volume. When traveling abroad, if their initial attempt at communication fails, they don't pivot to gestures or a translation app. Instead, they employ the one tool they believe can bridge any cultural divide, shouting the exact same sentence but slower and with more aggressive enunciation. It's a strange faith in the idea that volume is a magical translator, as if the local Parisian baker's inability to understand a request for a venti iced skinny vanilla latte is purely an issue of decibels. 8. The American microwave is treated less like a kitchen appliance and more like an altar of convenience where flavor and texture go to die. It is a device of last resort that has somehow become the first option for everything. Leftover pasta is zapped until it becomes a singular, rubbery mass. Day-old French fries are reanimated into limp, steaming potato worms. And the most heinous crime of all, reheating a perfectly good cup of coffee until it tastes of burnt plastic and shattered dreams. After committing these culinary atrocities, the user will often take a bite, make a face of mild disgust, and then blame the food itself, never their radioactive cooking methods. 9. There is a strange and beautiful moment of system failure that occurs in the minds of some American cashiers when presented with exact change. You can hand them a $20 bill for a $10 item, and the transaction is smooth, but hand them $20.02 for something that costs $10.02, and watch the matrix glitch. Their brain freezes, their fingers hover over the register, and they stare at the 2 pennies in your hand as if you've just tried to pay them with ancient, cursed relics. The simple act of trying to help them avoid making change somehow short-circuits their entire process, turning a simple transaction into a complex mathematical crisis. 10. The American car is not merely a vehicle. It's a mobile ecosystem that doubles as a closet and a garbage can. The back seat is an archaeological dig site, revealing layers of forgotten jackets, fossilized fast food bags, and at least one stray shoe whose partner vanished months ago. The cup holders are a sticky museum of past beverages. It functions as a chaotic but effective survival kit for modern life. The irony, of course, is that while this 4-wheeled biohazard contains everything you might need for an impromptu weekend getaway, the one document you actually need, the vehicle registration, is inevitably lost somewhere in the abyss between the passenger seat and the center console. 11. Deep within the dark recesses of every American kitchen, a monster lurks. It lives under the sink or in a forgotten pantry corner. It is the bag of bags, a plastic, self-replicating organism that is constantly fed but never shrinks. Every trip to the grocery store adds to its mass. Will these hundreds of bags ever be used? Statistically, no. Will they ever be thrown away? Absolutely not. That would be wasteful. Instead, they will continue to multiply in the darkness. A silent, crinkly monument to good intentions and the complete inability to ever remember to bring a reusable bag to the store. 12. The mantra, "My diet starts tomorrow," is so deeply ingrained in the culture it might as well be on the currency. It's a mindset that allows for the most glorious acts of self-deception. You'll witness someone spend 20 minutes in a grocery aisle, meticulously comparing the caloric content of 2 different brands of yogurt. Then, on the drive home, they'll pull into a fast food joint and order a monument to saturated fat. A triple cheeseburger, large fries, and a milkshake. But they'll order it with a Diet Coke, because that one small symbolic act of self-restraint magically cancels out all the rest. It's not a meal, it's a negotiation with guilt. 13. There's an arms race happening in America, but it's about personal hydration. People are now carrying around water bottles the size of a fire hydrant, lugging these massive insulated containers everywhere they go, as if they're about to embark on a 3-day trek through Death Valley. You'll see them at their office desk, in the movie theater, on a casual stroll. Yet, despite having a portable reservoir strapped to their person, you will inevitably hear them complain, "Man, I'm so dehydrated." You are carrying 40 ounces of water. It is not a fashion accessory. The solution to your problem is literally in your hand. 14. The concept of packing light for a weekend trip is, for many Americans, a completely alien idea. A simple 2-night stay at a hotel 2 hours away requires the logistical planning of a military invasion. Out comes the suitcase large enough to smuggle a person across international borders. It will be filled with enough clothing options to survive a month-long apocalypse, including multiple backup outfits, just in case, a shoe for every conceivable surface, and the entire contents of their bathroom vanity. They'll struggle to drag this behemoth through the hotel lobby, all while their travel companion glides by with a single, sensible backpack, looking relaxed and somehow better dressed. 15. Asking for directions in some parts of America is less about navigation and more about a history lesson on local defunct businesses. You won't get clear instructions like head north on Elm Street for 2 miles. Instead, you'll be treated to a verbal treasure map. All right, so you're gonna go down this road till you see where the old bowling alley used to be. Don't turn there. Keep going till you pass the big oak tree that got hit by lightning back in '98. Then take a right at the gas station that used to be a Taco Bell. By the time you've deciphered the local folklore, you've already missed your turn and are halfway to another state. 16. The phrase, "have a good one," is the Swiss Army knife of American social interaction. It is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card for any awkward conversation. Don't know how to gracefully end a chat with a neighbor? All right, well, have a good one. Just had a slightly too long transaction with a cashier? Thanks, you have a good one. It's a verbal magic trick, a polite-sounding eject button that requires no thought, no commitment, and no specificity. A good what? A good hour? A good life? Nobody knows and nobody cares. It's the conversational equivalent of a smoke bomb, allowing for a quick and clean escape. 17. According to American infomercials, the average person's daily life is a black and white catastrophe of unimaginable suffering. Simple tasks like chopping a tomato or opening a jar are portrayed as Herculean struggles that bring adults to the brink of tears. Then, a cheerful host appears with a miraculous piece of plastic that will solve this problem you didn't even know you had. Tired of your blankets falling off the bed? Introducing the Blanket Clamp 5000. These commercials create a world of profound incompetence, then sell you the cure for an absurdly low price of $19.99. And the terrifying part is, people are watching this at 2 a.m. and thinking, you know, my life is impossible without that. 18. The drive-through line is a sacred space, a place where the laws of time and logic cease to exist. An American will willingly sit in a line of 15 cars, engine idling, for 20 minutes, all to avoid the monumental physical effort of parking, walking 50 feet inside, and ordering at an empty counter. They will burn a quarter gallon of gas and listen to the same radio ad 3 times to avoid a 2-minute human interaction. The ultimate irony is watching from the window as the person who parked and walked in has already received their food, eaten it, and left before the driver has even made it to the speaker box. 19. In the dimly lit corners of American society, a mysterious subculture thrives: the sunglasses indoors crowd. You'll find them in dark restaurants, squinting at a menu they clearly cannot read. You'll see them in a movie theater, adding an extra layer of darkness to an already dark room. They navigate the world like cool, vision-impaired vampires, utterly committed to their aesthetic, no matter how impractical. You have to wonder what they're hiding. Are they a celebrity in disguise? A secret agent on a mission? Or did they just make a really awkward amount of eye contact with someone 5 years ago and vow to never let it happen again? 20. There's a specific kind of intellectual panic that sets in when an American is asked to perform the ancient, forgotten art of mental arithmetic. Place a dinner bill in front of an otherwise competent adult and ask them to calculate a 15% tip. You can almost hear the internal screeching of a dial-up modem trying to connect. A profound silence follows, filled with a 1,000-yard stare, some mumbled guesswork, and then the inevitable surrender. Hang on, I'll just use my phone. The calculator app is not a tool. It's a digital crutch for a part of the brain that has officially been decommissioned and is now a historical landmark. 21. Turning a 50-50 guess into a pyrotechnic spectacle. The gender reveal party has become a bizarre and competitive sport. What used to be a simple announcement is now an excuse to detonate smoke bombs, launch fireworks, or even handle explosives, all to reveal information that had a coin flip's chance of going either way. People will risk property damage and personal injury for the perfect social media post, treating the arrival of a baby like the series finale of a reality TV show. It's the only kind of party where the grand finale might involve a visit from the fire department after you've accidentally set a national forest ablaze to announce, "It's a boy." 22. American national parks often double as stages for a bizarre reality show, where tourists compete for the dumbest way to interact with wildlife. While any sane person sees a 600-pound bear and thinks, "I should maintain a respectful and life-preserving distance," some Americans see it and think, "Content opportunity." Out comes the phone for a selfie, getting dangerously close to a wild predator that views them as a slow, noisy snack. There's a complete lack of a self-preservation instinct, replaced by a desperate need for social media validation. The bear, meanwhile, is probably just confused as to why its dinner is making a duck face. 23. Nothing fuels the American spirit quite like a 3-minute YouTube tutorial and a trip to a home improvement store. A perfectly functional piece of furniture is seen not for what it is, but for what it could be: a shabby chic masterpiece. This DIY obsession leads to wobbly bookshelves made from old pallets and kitchen cabinets painted a shade of green that can only be described as unfortunate. There's a supreme, unshakable confidence that comes with watching someone else do a job successfully online. It convinces people they are qualified to handle power tools and structural renovations, a belief that usually ends with a call to an actual professional to fix the mess. 24. The giant noise-canceling headphone has become the urban equivalent of a "Do Not Disturb" sign. Yet this message is frequently lost. You'll see someone completely sealed off from the world, lost in their own private concert, only to have a stranger tap them on the shoulder and ask, "So, what are you listening to?" This is a violation of a sacred, unspoken social contract. If a person is wearing headphones the size of dinner plates, they are sending a clear, unambiguous signal that they have opted out of society for the moment. Approaching them for small talk is like knocking on the door of a spaceship and asking if they have any gray poop on. 25. The art of couponing in the United States sometimes transcends saving money and becomes a high-stakes competitive sport. A person will spend $5 on gas and an hour of their irreplaceable time to drive to a specific store across town, all to redeem a coupon that saves them 75 cents on a can of beans. The math simply does not add up. But it's not about the math. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the victory of beating the system. They'll return home, triumphant with their discounted beans, having spent far more in resources than they actually saved, but feeling like a financial genius. 26. The appearance of a single delicate snowflake is often enough to trigger a full-scale societal collapse in many parts of America. A light dusting of snow is treated with the same level of panic as an impending asteroid impact. The populace raids grocery stores as if preparing for a nuclear winter, stripping the shelves of milk, bread, and toilet paper. On the roads, drivers who navigate traffic every day suddenly forget how to operate a vehicle, turning a 1-inch snowfall into a scene from a disaster movie. Meanwhile, their neighbors to the north in Canada are probably playing hockey on a frozen lake, wondering what all the fuss is about. 27. Ordering at a fast food drive-thru has evolved from a simple transaction into a deeply personal, highly customized culinary consultation. It's never just a "number 3, please." It's a series of negotiations and amendments. Can I get the burger but with no pickles, extra sauce, the onions grilled instead of raw? And can you make sure the fries are from a fresh batch? Oh, and for the drink, can you do half Sprite, half lemonade? By the time they're done, they've essentially designed a new menu item. At some point, you have to wonder if it would just be easier for everyone involved if they simply learned to cook at home. 28. "I'll be there in 5 minutes" is perhaps the most common and universally understood lie in the American lexicon. It's a beautiful, optimistic piece of fiction that has no connection to the actual constraints of space and time. When someone says they are 5 minutes away, what they usually mean is, "I have just located my keys and am now contemplating putting on shoes." The person waiting on the other end knows this, of course. It's all part of a delicate social dance where everyone pretends to believe the lie, even though they know they have at least another 20 minutes to scroll through their phone. 29. The four-way stop is the ultimate test of American social awkwardness. It is a place where four drivers arrive simultaneously and enter a prolonged, silent standoff of excessive politeness. There's a flurry of hand waves, head nods, and hesitant inching forward, followed by abrupt braking as everyone tries to let everyone else go first. This dance of indecision can last an eternity, creating a traffic jam out of pure courtesy. Eventually, one brave soul floors it out of sheer frustration, breaking the spell, but not before nearly causing the exact accident the stop sign was designed to prevent. 30. Choosing a brand of bottled water in the US is no longer about hydration. It's a profound statement about who you are as a person. People develop fierce, unshakable loyalties to a specific brand and will argue with the passion of a political debate over the subtle differences in taste between water that came from a spring in Fiji versus water filtered through volcanic rock. Then, there are the artisanal waters, costing $8 a bottle, sold with a dramatic backstory about glaciers and untouched mountain peaks. It's just water. But in America, even the simplest things can be turned into a luxury status symbol. 31. One of the greatest obstacles to efficient pedestrian travel in any American city is the sidewalk hog. This is the individual or group who decides that a busy public walkway is the ideal place to stroll at the speed of a melting glacier, often walking 3 or 4 people wide, creating an impenetrable human wall. They are completely oblivious to the growing crowd of frustrated people trapped behind them. They will stop abruptly to check a text or admire a pigeon, causing a chain reaction pileup. These people navigate the world as if they are the only ones in it, turning a simple walk into a slow-motion rage inducer for everyone else. 32. Americans have a very schizophrenic relationship with food dating. A use-by or best-by date is often treated as a loose suggestion, a friendly piece of advice from the manufacturer that can be safely ignored. A 3-year-old bag of crackers? Give it a sniff, it's probably fine. However, the expiration date, especially on dairy, is treated as a non-negotiable death warrant. If the milk carton says it expired yesterday, it is treated as a container of pure poison and immediately discarded, even if it smells and tastes perfectly fine. There is no logic, only fear and arbitrary rules. 33. Sometime in the last 2 decades, bacon ceased to be just a breakfast food in America and ascended to the level of a cultural icon, a personality trait. Its popularity exploded into a full-blown obsession. You can now find bacon-flavored everything, from vodka and toothpaste to air fresheners. People wear shirts proclaiming their love for bacon. Restaurants wrap things in bacon that have no business being wrapped in bacon. It's a culinary phenomenon that has become a stand-in for a certain kind of unapologetic indulgence. Bacon is no longer just on the menu, it's a lifestyle brand. 34. The term un-American has become a gloriously meaningless and versatile insult. It's a catch-all phrase used to condemn any behavior, preference, or opinion that one personally dislikes. Don't like football? Un-American. Prefer your steak well done? Un-American. Think roundabouts are more efficient than 4-way stops? That's practically treason. The definition has become so broad and ridiculous that it's lost all its power. It's now just a way of saying, I disagree with your personal choice, and I'm wrapping that disagreement in the flag to make it sound more important. 35. The all sales final sign is not seen as a store policy in America. It's viewed as a personal challenge. There's a certain type of person who will see this sign, purchase an item, use it for 3 weeks, and then march back into the store with the unshakable belief that they are entitled to a refund. Their reasoning is always a masterpiece of twisted logic, like trying to return a half-eaten rotisserie chicken because it didn't meet their flavor expectations. And when the teenage cashier calmly points to the sign, it's time for escalation. The demand to see a manager is uttered with the gravity of a lawyer objecting in court. as if this minor inconvenience is a grave injustice against all of humanity. 36. There seems to be a fundamental inability for some Americans to consume crunchy foods with any level of discretion. Hand them a bag of potato chips, and they will treat it like a declaration of war against silence. First comes the aggressive, prolonged crinkling of the bag, an overture to the main event. Then, the eating itself, a loud, percussive assault of chomping and crunching that can be heard from 3 cubicles away. It's not just eating, it's a public performance. And if it's popcorn in a movie theater, forget about it. You'll be treated to a surround sound experience of every single kernel being individually pulverized, completely drowning out the movie's actual dialogue. 37. In the American beverage hierarchy, water is often treated like a broke cousin who only gets invited to parties out of obligation. People will religiously consume a morning pot of coffee, a lunchtime soda, and a mid-afternoon energy drink, treating their bodies like a science experiment in stimulant tolerance. Water is the thing they drink only when they're on the verge of collapsing. By midday, their circulatory system is running on pure caffeine, sugar, and artificial coloring. Then they have the audacity to wonder why they have a headache and feel like a desiccated piece of beef jerky. The solution is simple, but it's apparently the least appealing option available. 38. The phrase, "I'm just going to rest my eyes," is the official American proclamation for "I am about to enter an unscheduled 3-hour coma." It is never just for a second. A person will be sitting upright on a couch, mid-conversation, fully clothed in jeans, and then suddenly go silent. When you check on them, they're gone, lost to a deep, powerful slumber. Upon waking, completely disoriented and with the pattern of the couch cushion imprinted on their face, they will vehemently deny ever being asleep. Nope, wasn't sleeping, just thinking. It's a denial born of a strange pride in resisting the basic human need for rest. 39. "I'm fine" is the most versatile and misleading phrase in the American emotional vocabulary. It's a verbal smokescreen used to cover everything from mild inconvenience to catastrophic personal disaster. Did your car just get a flat tire in the middle of a rainstorm? I'm fine. Did you just lose your job and your wallet on the same day? Don't worry, I'm fine. It's a reflexive defense mechanism against showing any vulnerability. There's an unwritten rule. If an American says, "I'm fine" once, they might be. If they say it twice, they're definitely not. If they say it 3 times with a strained smile, you should probably call for backup. 40. American weddings have mutated from a celebration of love into a competitive financial sport. The goal seems to be to create a one-day event so expensive and elaborate that it looks like a blockbuster movie production. The dress must cost more than a used car. The multi-tiered cake must be an architectural marvel, and the venue rental alone could fund a small startup. It's a full-scale performance, complete with lighting rigs, professional videographers, and a price tag that could feed a small village for a year. The most ironic part is that half the guests are just counting down the minutes until the open bar starts, and will have no memory of the vows the next day. 41. Witnessing an American encounter. A foreign electrical outlet for the first time is a masterclass in confusion and panic. They will stare at the 2 round holes as if it's an unsolvable riddle from an ancient civilization. Where's the 3rd hole for the ground? What is this sorcery? Their first instinct is often to try and jam their flat-pronged plug into the round holes through sheer force of will, ignoring the distinct smell of melting plastic and impending doom. Their second instinct is to overpay for a single, country-specific adapter at the airport, completely unaware that universal adapters have existed for decades. 42. America runs on coffee, but it seems a large portion of the population is running on a beverage that only vaguely resembles it. The classic coffee-to-cream and sugar ratio has been completely butchered. People's daily coffee is often a monstrous concoction of milk, 6 different flavored syrups, whipped cream, and a caramel drizzle, with just a hint of actual coffee somewhere in the mix. It's less a beverage and more a liquid dessert you drink for breakfast. If your coffee order has more than 5 words and sounds like you're ordering a custom ice cream sundae, You're not drinking coffee anymore. You're just drinking candy. 43. Americans have a deeply ingrained sense of personal space, a bubble that must be respected at all times, unless they are at an airport. The moment a boarding announcement is made, all social contracts are null and void. A chaotic mob forms around the gate, and personal space shrinks to zero as people jostle for position. Then, once on the plane, the deplaning process becomes a savage, every-man-for-himself stampede. The seatbelt sign is barely off before people are jumping into the aisle, ramming their bags into your head, all to save 12 seconds on their journey to the baggage claim, where they'll just have to wait anyway. 44. The modern American dilemma. Having access to every movie and TV show ever made, and being completely paralyzed by the choice. A couple will spend a solid 30 minutes scrolling through a streaming service, an activity that now resembles a part-time job. They will watch 12 different trailers, debate the merits of a new drama versus an old comedy, and add 7 things to their watch list for a later that will never come. Then, after all that exhaustive research, they will give up and say, "You know what? Let's just watch The Office again." It's a nightly ritual of infinite possibility culminating in the most predictable choice imaginable. 45. Nothing exposes the cracks in the American system of measurement quite like trying to explain Fahrenheit to someone from literally anywhere else on Earth. It's a system that feels completely arbitrary. 32 is freezing, but 212 is boiling. 70 is nice, but -10 is a disaster. It makes no intuitive sense. An American will passionately defend the superiority of Fahrenheit while simultaneously having to check their weather app to know whether 78 degrees means they need a jacket or not. Meanwhile, the rest of the planet operates on the simple, logical Celsius scale, where 0 is freezing and 100 is boiling, and life just makes sense. 46. The definition of going for a walk has been creatively reinterpreted in many parts of the US. For some, it means walking from their front door to their car in the driveway. The idea of walking to a destination that is less than a mile away is often seen as an extreme sport. In a sprawling strip mall, a person will get in their car and drive from one end of the parking lot to the other to go to the adjacent store. Elevators are taken to go up a single flight of stairs. It's a culture built around the convenience of the automobile, where bipedal motion is reserved for navigating the distance between the parking spot and the front door. 47. There is a unique form of culinary betrayal that happens when an American friend hypes up a restaurant. They'll tell you, "Oh my God, you have to try this place. It's the most authentic, incredible food you'll ever have." You get excited, picturing some hidden, family-owned gem. You drive there, your anticipation building, and they pull into the parking lot of an Olive Garden or a Chili's. It's a national pastime to praise a massive, soulless chain restaurant as if it's a 5-star, one-of-a-kind dining experience. The passion is real. The taste is just deeply, deeply mediocre. 48. The modern American gym is no longer just a place for exercise. It's a film studio for aspiring fitness influencers. There's always at least one guy who spends more time setting up his tripod and finding the perfect lighting than he does actually lifting weights. He'll perform a single set of bicep curls, then spend the next 10 minutes reviewing the footage, checking his angles, and flexing in his phone's camera. He treats his workout like he's filming a documentary about his own greatness, completely oblivious to the fact that everyone else around him is just trying to use the machine he's been monopolizing for his vanity project. 49. There's a special brand of American confidence that involves being completely and utterly wrong about basic world geography. It's not just ignorance, it's the conviction with which they state their incorrect facts. You'll hear someone argue with absolute certainty that Africa is a country or that the capital of Australia is Sydney. Ask them to locate a moderately well-known country on a map, and a wave of sheer panic washes over their face. It's a bizarre blind spot, a consequence of living in a large country where the rest of the world can sometimes feel like a vague, distant concept rather than a collection of actual places. That's our list of 49 charges against the American way of life. But we're the prosecution, and you're the jury. What did we miss? Drop number 50 in the comments and add the daily crime you witness all the time. If this video felt like looking in a mirror, hitting like is your confession. Subscribe if you enjoy this kind of uncomfortable truth.